Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Shane with KNAC, and today I'm talking about the DETHKLOK show that happened this past week or so at Hollywood Palladium in Los Angeles on May 22nd, 2026. They had support from Thrown in Exile and XCOMM. This is one of those shows where, the room felt pretty much packed from the start. I honestly thought the crowd would slowly fill in as the night goes on. But for this one, people already in there early and posted up, ready for a killer night. I've been to the Palladium a bunch of times. I genuinely like the Palladium. It's probably one of my top LA venues, even though it's owned by Live Nation, unfortunately, still. It's a great venue. It's very convenient. Everything in it's nice. I have never had any problems there. But now into the bands. Opening up the night was Thrown into Exile, and I've got to say I've seen these guys, it feels like a billion times at this point. They're LA locals, they've been grinding for years, and it's always cool seeing them going strong and getting in front of bigger crowds. Their set wasn't totally smooth though. They did have a few sound problems, but I don't know, it wasn't that bad. Didn't kill the momentum. The front man, they got a new one now. Don't know his name, unfortunately, but he was working the crowd, running around. I mean, they did split the floor, did like a wall of death kind of thing. That's always fun. Not easy when you're an opener, especially not a lot of people are there that early to make it where you can have a wall of death. But again, I haven't kept up with them, and I think I'm definitely going to look more into them. They were fucking killer. It was a solid hometown opening set for them, and a good reminder that Thrown into Exile are still out there putting in the work. Now, next up was XCOMM, a fairly new band. And let's get the obvious thing out of the way. Yes, Scotty and Son, Revel Ian is the drummer of the band, but I don't think that can't be the whole conversation around that band. Because XCOMM really does stand out on its own. I saw one of their first sets in Milwaukee Metal Fest last year, and even back then you could tell there was something there. Seeing them now, I think they've come a long way. They're still raw, but in a good way. There's like a punk, hardcore, crossover sound happening, but they also throw in like these weird off-time parts that caught my attention. Like some of it had, you got the young, angsty feel to it, which is cool. They have the old school kind of like Foo Fighters grunge kind of vibe, but with metal. Even some parts reminded me of like some Faith No More kind of stuff. I guess with their off time stuff, but it's still cool. They had like a DJ doing like samples and stuff. It didn't feel like a gimmick. It felt like it added to the band. It doesn't remove anything from it. I thought it fit perfectly. But again, these are kids. They're all very young. But the main thing I took away from XCOMM is that they may be young and they got they're very disciplined. They're actually like getting to that feel of being a touring band, hopefully. And it's what I've seen missing from a lot of newer bands is that, messy, raw energy. And it's just fun. It's exciting. You don't know how it's gonna play out half the time because they'd probably like improvise stuff. Like the singer jumped into the crowd. It was cool. Also, the drummer Revel had a sick David Lynch bass drum cover, which was killer. But now on for the band we all came here to see, which was DETHKLOK. Now, from a photo perspective, this was a weird one. We weren't allowed to shoot inside the barricade. The band wanted to focus on the screen, so we had to shoot from the way far back by the soundboard. Specifically, that's what they wanted. So like all the photographers that were with, we all have the same shots kind of. Honestly, it's fine. It was just kind of hard shooting that. But the fact is, we're talking about 20 years of DETHKLOK. That makes me feel old. I remember when DETHKLOK came on. I love DETHKLOK since it started on Adult Swim. And what started as this like insane death metal band animated show, Metalocalypse, turned into now a live show with killer musicians like Gene Hoglan. He fucking rips, the atomic clock himself. And even the creator, Brendan Small, is a great vocalist and a killer guitarist too. They came out strong with like the death theme. You know, it got the crowd going. Obviously, you're gonna do the intro to the show. They played like Bloodrecuted, Burn the Earth, Bloodlines, Aortic Desecration. They played all their classic material with some of the stuff off of the latest album. The visuals are always a huge part of the night of any DETHKLOK show, and they got some new visuals, which was awesome. They had some funny bits. They had new Facebones video where he was talking about, like, you know, erectile dysfunction. It's just kind of stupid, perfect DETHKLOK humor. They had the crowd laughing in between, you know, all the pits that they were in. There was a lot of pits, some good pits for it. One of the biggest old school fan moments was they got to do the Duncan Hills coffee jingle. It's short, it's dumb, but it's, you know, it's fun. It's one of the songs that set them off and made us remember Metalocalypse. They also played Face Fisted, and then they had the Bat Metal video playing over it, which was cool. Not only is Brandon Smalls just up there playing these songs, but he's also doing character voices in between the sets. It just keeps that Metalocalypse energy there. You feel like you're watching a live episode of the show. They came out with the encore, and, you know, you got Thunder Horse, Going to the Water, Mermaider. Just all the classic DETHKLOK songs. It was just overall a great night. I never am disappointed with seeing DETHKLOK. I honestly was surprised bringing in these openers. But obviously, you know, DETHKLOK is the main draw, but still people showed up early for the openers being there playing early. It was a great set for them. But again, DETHKLOK, been around for 20 years. It shows that they're still, you know, around, still able to draw. So I hope to see another 20 years of DETHKLOK and see where they go with the... I hope they bring back the show. Like, let's, come on, Adult Swim, bring back Metalocalypse, it's killer. But let me know if you went to the show, and let me know what you think of DETHKLOK. For all things heavy, please stay tuned right here on the channel or knac.com. Cheers, everyone.